Okay, in this video I have questions for Nelson. These are serious questions. I'm not joking around. I do want answers for at least 90% of the questions I'm going to ask. This is a completely serious video to try and get some knowledge about just the questions I'm going to ask. First off, item respawning. How does it work? As in, he said items won't despawn. You have to pick the item up for a new item to spawn there. How does this work? Is it that we pick it up and that means an item can respawn now, even if we drop that item right back down? Do we have to take it out of the building a certain range? Do we have to use the item? Like, does the item have to not exist? For example, a food item, a moldy tomato being turned into a seed. Does that mean another item can respawn there? Or is it you just have to move the item a certain distance away from that spawn, and then a new item will spawn? As well, how often does items respawn? Is it like once a minute, every 5 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour? What's the respawn time? Um, I haven't. It says improved weight of rocks and boards and everything. I'm still going to ask this question because I have not been on the game yet. Why are some items heavier than what they took to make? For example, if I took 2 pounds of board to make another object, how can that weigh 3 pounds instead of 2 or less? It doesn't make sense as how items can weigh more than the material put into it. So it's unrealistic and it's a pretty bad logic there. Next, questions about cars. So I got some answers from this blog post here, but I'm going to go ahead and ask to try and get some better answers. What's the car respawn like? It said cars that have been driven to the water will respawn. How often do they respawn? Is it random, or will that car be back in the same place as the same car again? If a car is destroyed for so long, as in on fire or actually destroyed, I don't know if you can actually blow up a car yet. But if you can, does those respawn? Is there a timer on a destroyed car being respawned at all? Or is it just until it's driven into the water? Hmm. Um, Another question: why so little experience from zombie kills? I was playing a server and I killed like 20 zombies. These were just normal zombies. I had like 25 experience. And these skills are just level 1 in craftsman to make storage crates. It takes 100. So I would have to kill at least 100 normal zombies to get that experience. And even military zombies only give about 2 or 3 at max. So it makes it impossible to play a multiplayer server and have actual skills built up to survive. I think if it's going to be like that, skills need to be toned down a lot. I think crafting should be around first level 30 at least. Has to be at least like 30 experience, considering how little experience we get right now. I haven't cut down trees or mined rocks on a multiplayer server. I've only done it on my gold server, and I get about 2 or 4 experience if I'm lucky. So I imagine you only get 1 for that as well. More questions? What about buildings? How easy are they to destroy? Because, I mean, if we have actual servers up, let's say, for example, like Rust. Say there's something like Rust. Since this game does have the Rust feel to it of building bases and collecting resources and such. What about servers like that? Because I've played many servers. I play in the DayZ style. As in, I go around, I try to find weapons, I try to kill bandits, I try to help innocent players. And I don't bother making a base because, one, finding the tools needed is difficult. Then you have to actually spend the time of getting the resources. Then you have to hope no one finds you while you're making your base because you are pretty vulnerable considering the lack of cover you probably have from the trees missing. As far as I know, trees don't respawn. That was another question I was going to ask: if trees do respawn after a certain amount of time, or do you have to restart the server? As well, here's another question: if someone hosts a standard server or dedicated, whichever one, let's say for a few hours, people have some bases and some stuff made. When that player goes into single player, is all that data of all those bases going to be there? Let's say, for example, I join a multiplayer server. I build a base. I have crates and my loot in there. When the server owner plays single player, is he going to be able to go to my base, break into it, take my stuff, put it in his, and then start the server again? And then I find out that happened. Can that was probably actually a bad way to word that, but hopefully you understand. Um, now for the new map. How big is it going to be? What is the cover going to be like? Judging from the screenshot, there is going to be a huge lack of cover. So I'm guessing weapons are going to be powerful, considering a ranged weapon with this lack of cover is going to be dangerous. Um, Another thing, why don't you add bullet drop? It would be more realistic, and it surely would make it more difficult for an inexperienced player to get a more experienced player at range. I would enjoy having realistically where certain guns firing at certain velocities will make their bullets travel faster, further with less bullet drop, and have just realism of the bullet drop. So something like a high-powered rifle will shoot further than like an M4 or something. The next questions: when can we have a date on cars being destroyable completely? As in, we can blow them up. This will make something like landmines, anti-vehicle mines, rocket launchers, and stuff like that very useful, especially using them against an APC or armor personnel carrier. Another question: are we going to have bullet penetration? For example, how bullets can go through certain objects if their penetration is high enough. Let's take, for example, a 9mm against a 50 caliber. Let's say the M107 or M82A1 Barrett. So naturally, the Barrett would go through so many materials. Like if I try to fire a 9mm through a wood wall, the wood wall will stop it. But if I fired the 50 cal, it would go through it. So can we see penetration, as this would make armor plating on cars more valuable with higher grades of it. So something like because I have not gotten into a battle against an APC or in an APC, but I imagine trying to kill someone in an APC is damn near impossible unless you are one hell of a shot. You'd have to have aimbot-like aim to kill someone in APC if you're shooting from the front through that tiny window. But this was my first part of the series questions. I have some more I do want to ask. I do want answers for at least 90% of these questions, so me and the community can know more about the game. Some of these questions I can see they would be spoilers to probably what is to come, but I would just like to have some of these questions answered. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.